I'd like to call to order the meeting of Leitchfield City Council, January 16th, 2024. I'll be presiding over the meeting tonight. The mayor is feeling a little under the weather, so we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance by Gina Carnes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gina, for that. We need approval of the regular meeting minutes from January the 2nd. I'm sure everybody's looked over them through their emails and got a chance to gaze them anyway.
I make a motion, we accept them.
Clayton makes a motion.
Second.
2 seconds. All in favor? Aye. Approval and ratification of the bills. I'm hoping you can glance through them. See anything that's misleading. If no changes want to be made, hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bills.
Gina makes a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
Second by Terry. All approved?
Aye.
Visitors. Tammy, would you like to speak first? Tammy's requesting to have an ordinance created to prevent any form of hunting in our city parks.
Yeah.
That don't include fishing, right?
No, not fishing. Just want an ordinance established to eliminate the hunting in the city parks. First we'll say I'm not against hunting at all. I just feel like the city park is not the place to do it. We have a gentleman who does falconry and called Fish and Wildlife on it, and they stated that he is within his rights to hunt on public land if we do not have a law or ordinance preventing it. I just feel like the park is not the appropriate place. These people feed these squirrels. They've become domesticated, and the squirrels have no idea that hawk's coming in to get them. So I just feel that we probably should establish an ordinance to prevent any hunting whatsoever in our parks.
Thoughts and questions?
Do you have like a rules and regulations for our parks?
We do not have anything set, there's no biking, no alcohol. It's all based off the city
I mean,
ordinances.
is it like in a written document?
It's a city ordinance.
Ordinance.
There's some ordinance about the smoking in public place, drinking in public place. So that's basically what everything is based on. And as Fish and Wildlife said, that your city has to file those rules and
Right.
laws, or we can't enforce it.
Take a look at what, I know Bowling Green is much bigger than what we are and have more parks, but they have it's like a 16-page document that just outlines the rules and regulations in addition to like the ordinances they have in place, so people are not like searching through ordinances. But take a look at that document. It might be something that we want to look into in addition to the
establish
ordinances.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get approved.
In addition to you, Arlene, can you check with the ordinance? See if, any of the cities, I'm sure they have them, surely to goodness.
I can. Now, to enforce it, it would have to be an ordinance. So for it, I don't think it's a bad idea to have.
I think it's an excellent idea. I'll go on record.
Yeah.
I don't think we need hunting in our city parks, but
No. I went through the ordinance and I had Denny peek through it too, and we just couldn't find anything.
there's just too many people that travel through them and use them.
Yeah.
Not on the path, they
And-
use them.
And a lot of the walkers, they were very upset and to watch that and witness it. And then, don't get me wrong, the gentleman has been nice enough, sometimes he will leave, but he's within his legal rights, so if we have a rule against it, I think we could prevent it. All right,
We'll take your recommendation and consider.
thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now,
Any- Go ahead.
If you want me to go ahead and draft it, you need to take a vote tonight if you wanted to.
Just say, I'll make a motion to have Arlene to draft an ordinance preventing any form of hunting within our city parks.
I make a second.
Motion made by Gina, second made by Clayton to draft an ordinance to prevent hunting in our city park. Do we have to specify on gun, slingshot, BB gun,
I think it
air
would
bow
be-
and arrow?
Where it says any
I think it
form.
would be a good idea to specify a little bit because people could always find loopholes in it.
Understand. rock and slingshot. I mean, you know,
Could you do it and include all city property? I mean, there's people that hunt at the transfer station, which is getting ready to become our disc golf park. Also at the landfill, Millwood, people do hunt, but they're not supposed to. They still do because of the damage to the liner and stuff like that.
can we specify parks and then what Wesley's wanting?
Any city
Any city,
property.
You can do that.
but probably we need to specify parks in there.
You just need to make it part of your vote, draft whatever the vote's based on.
I got a motion and a second. Everybody in favor?
I'll make an amended to include that.
Gina's gonna make an amendment to
I'll second
include
it.
all city properties. Motion and second made. Approval? Aye.
Quick question, do we still have some contracts from before where people are allowed to hunt?
There is a lease
That's what I was thinking.
at one of the properties.
Properties. And I don't know, I can pull that lease to see how long it was for.
I think it was just for a year, so it might have ran on that.
Okay.
Once we open for disc golf, and they won't be able to hunt there at the same time.
Right. I just want to make sure, I mean, if we need.
So let everybody in on what you're talking about. Are you talking about the landfill?
Yeah,
Somebody has a lease, they can hunt it there?
Had one.
Had a lease?
I think it expired.
as far as I know, or somebody has a lease for it, I don't know how long it is, maybe a year. But once it becomes open to the public,
Right.
then it doesn't,
So we're planning on putting disc golf, 18 hole
Yeah.
disc golf.
yes.
Understand.
Mayor Pro Tem, I have one question too about didn't we have, on the beavers, weren't they just trapped and relocated? They weren't hunted. Okay, and that's kind of be the future?
That's what we do with most animals that we find, the nuisance animals that we find over there.
Okay. So technically, they wouldn't be
What about
hunted.
that,
if they're-
Arlene?
Well, we could build an exception for nuisance purposes. Whether we do that in-house, we take care of it ourselves, or get somebody in there to take care of it. So we could build an exception in for that purpose.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Let's move on to planning and zoning recommendations on RZ-23-124 to rezone the property having a PVA number of 083-09-28-065 at the intersection of Wallace Avenue and Howard Avenue from agricultural to R2. Tyler, is that you? Mr. Planning and Zoning Coordinator?
I can give you the report or the actual recommendation from the Planning Commission. We held a public hearing on this amendment on Monday, January the 8th at 5 o'clock. All members of the Planning Commission were present. Application was presented and the commission discussed the matter. The following findings of fact were made: that the property is improperly zoned as agricultural because the surrounding area is residential in nature, and there are not enough acres located in this tract of land to meet the agricultural requirements. Therefore, the Planning Commission recommends that the proper zoning should be R2, single-family, medium density, and requests that the City Council approve their recommendation to change the zoning classification from agricultural to R2, single-family, medium density.
Refresh my memory on R2. What consists of R2?
That's a lot that's, it's around 8,500 square foot minimum with 75-foot minimum road frontage. Agricultural requires a minimum of 5 acres. And the property as it was before the owners divided it did not meet that 5-acre requirement. And they requested to go ahead and rezone it to R2 since that did meet the requirements.
So do you have any opposition?
I didn't have any opposition. There was someone there that was concerned about what was going to happen because Howard Avenue stopped at their residence and they didn't know if it was going to extend beyond that or not. And we informed them that we don't know what the plans are for the property, but we just dealt with the request at hand. That is a public right-of-way that does extend beyond that point, and at some point in time, it could be extended, but at this time, there's no indication that the property owner wants that at all.
We need a motion, Arlene, to accept their,
Yes, you'll need a motion, a second, and a roll, not a roll call, but just a regular vote.
I make a motion, we accept what Tyler just said.
Clayton makes a motion on the zoning change at Wallace Avenue and Howard Avenue.
I'll second.
Gina seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Another one, planning and zoning recommendation
No, we'll
for,
have to do, Tyler will have to read it.
okay.
We'll have to do the first reading of the ordinance.
Oh, I got you.
It's in the packet.
An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky by changing the district classification of the property located in Litchfield, Kentucky as hereinafter described from agricultural to R2 Single Family Medium Density. Whereas the Litchfield Planning Commission of Litchfield, Kentucky on January 8th, 2024 held a public hearing on application number RZ-23-124. The property is currently owned by Rebecca Miller and Cheryl Cole and is designated as property having a PVA number 083-09-28-065, being more particularly described in Deed Book 469, page 332, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located approximately 820 feet west of the intersection of Wallace Avenue and Howard Avenue, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from A, agricultural to R-2, single-family medium density. And whereas the city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference. And now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows. Boundaries of the district is shown on district map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky. Be and same is hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof as fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated 1/9/2024 to the Litchfield City Council, so the property is described as follows. Refer to property description PVA number 083-09-28-065, Deed Book 469, page 332, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located approximately 820 feet west of the intersection of Wallace Avenue and Howard Avenue, Litchfield, Kentucky 42754. Now zone R-2, single-family medium density after the adoption of this ordinance.
Everybody good? Good with that? Moving on, planning and zoning recommendations on RZ-23-125 to rezone the property having a PVA number of 08-08-05-003, comma, 083-08-05-004, and 083-08-05-049, being located at 306 Marion Street from C1 to exclusive. What is the EX1, Tyler?
Exclusive use.
Exclusive.
All right, so this is one of the newer zones that we implemented about a year or so ago. This request was made because of the nature of what the property owner was wishing to erect upon this property. They are requesting that we put in or allow them to put in a rehab facility,
I'm sorry?
a rehab facility for drug and alcohol. There was no.
Rehab facility for drug and alcohol.
Yes. And it will also consist of a post-rehab living facility as well. Excuse me. So nothing in our ordinance had this listed as a permitted use, so that's why they requested the exclusive use. They submitted a narrative showing exactly what they were going to do, which was a requirement for this requested zone. So the public hearing for this application was by Clayton Watkins Construction Company Incorporated, which is the present owner, and the Leitchfield Addiction Recovery Center LLC. Their tract 1-1 is 2.44 acres and tract 2-2.83 acres. There was a preliminary plat and development plan submitted. Public hearing was on Monday, January the 8th, 2024 at 5 p.m. All members of the Planning Commission were present. Let's see. Commissioner April Bowman recused herself because she is employed by Walbuck Development Company Incorporated, and she desired to avoid any appearance of a conflict. So, so the following findings of fact in support of this recommendation for the zoning map amendment made by the Planning Commission was that the Leitchfield Addiction Recovery Center LLC is Kentucky Limited Liability Company formed by Parkland Manor to provide residential facilities which will provide services to aid addicted individuals in Grayson County, Kentucky in their recovery efforts. The residential facility to be constructed will have capacity to serve up to 64 individuals here in Leitchfield, Kentucky on a long-term basis, generally 6 to 12 months. There will be no cost to the participants. The location for the residential treatment center, which is also include residential housing for persons who have completed the treatment program, is planned to be constructed on Marion Street in Leitchfield, Kentucky, on a portion of the property now owned by Clayton Watkins Construction Company Incorporated, and which was previously owned by Lowe's Concrete Incorporation. The initial development cost is approximately $9,600,000. LARC will be managed by a manager. The initial manager is Gary Watkins, and the manager will be selected by the members of LARC on an ongoing basis. The initial management of this residential treatment facility will be done by a wholly owned subsidiary of the Center for Addiction Recovery of Henderson Incorporated, a Kentucky nonprofit corporation that successfully operates addiction treatment centers in Henderson, Kentucky and Bowling Green, Kentucky. Parkland Manor is a Kentucky nonprofit corporation that successfully participates in providing housing assistance to deserving individuals and seeks to advance health care in residents of Leitchfield and Grayson County. By supporting the development and operation of the Addiction Recovery Center, Parkland Manor is making an initial capital injection into the LARC in the amount of $8 million. After construction, Parkland Manor will inject into the project additional funds as capital contribution to LARC. LARC has also received substantial commitments for the funding from Grayson County Healthcare Foundation and Corporation and from the Grayson County Hospital District to aid in the unmet needs to be served by this project. The project funding for the development and operation of the Recovery Center is attached as an exhibit to the application. The preliminary development plan showing the location of the improvements, parking, and requested setbacks is also attached as an exhibit to the application. The Planning Commission was unanimously in favor of the zoning map amendment requested by the applicant and found that the existing zoning classification given to the property sought to be rezoned or inappropriate, and that the proposed zoning classification as an exclusive use zone is appropriate, that the application request meets the purpose of the 3.8.15 EX-1 exclusive use zone of the zoning ordinance for the city of Leitchfield, and therefore the Planning Commission requests that the zoning map amendment for tract 1-1 consisting of 2.44 acres and tract 2-2 consisting of 0.83 acres as set out on the attached preliminary plat development plan be approved and adopted by the Leitchfield City Council.
Anybody have any questions? I got one. How many bed facility is it?
It said it would treat up to 64.
See, and then how many housing?
I I think it mirrors that. That way, as they graduate the program, they
So-
move over.
So 128 units
Yeah, in 2 separate buildings.
in 2 separate buildings.
Yep.
Any other questions? Motion and second.
I'll make a
Accept the
motion.
planning and zoning recommendation.
I'll make a motion to accept the planning and zoning recommendation.
Denny made the motion, Clayton seconds. All in favor? Aye.
An ordinance amending and adopting an amending zoning map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky by changing the district classification of the property located in Litchfield, Kentucky as hereinafter described from B-1 Neighborhood Business and C-1 Highway Commercial to EX-1 Exclusive Use. Whereas the Litchfield Planning Commission of Litchfield, Kentucky on January 8, 2024 held a public hearing on application number RZ-23-125. The property is currently owned by Clayton Watkins Construction Incorporated and is designated as a property having a PVA number 083-08-05-003 and 083-08-05-004 and 083-08-05-049, being more particularly described in Deed Book 517, page 120, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office and being located at 306 Marion Street, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from C-1 Highway Commercial to EX-1 Exclusive Use. And whereas city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference, and now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows. Boundaries of the district as shown on district map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky, being same is hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof as fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated 1/9/2024 to the Litchfield City Council, so the property is described as follows. Refer to property description PVA number 083-08-05-003 and 083-08-05-004 and 083-08-05-049, Deed Book 517, page 120, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 306 Marion Street, Litchfield, Kentucky 42754, now zoned EX-1 exclusive use after the adoption of this ordinance.
Good. Second final reading of an ordinance declaring certain property as a public way. Refresh me on where the property is.
It's Pinner.
That's right.
This is the Pinner Drive property. We did a first reading last meeting. Which pages? Keep going. Here, okay. All right, so that we would vote on this tonight. I had sent my recommendation last time for Sabrina to read. I do, from a legal standpoint, I do approve of this being passed. I think it's something that would be tying up progress for the community if it wasn't passed. We meet the statute to be able to do this and declare it a public way, so that's my legal opinion and recommendation I would give. An ordinance declaring certain property as a public way, whereas the city of Litchfield, Kentucky can declare certain property as a public way or easement at any time after the expiration of 5 years from the time the property is open to unrestricted use to the general public. By passing an ordinance declaring it so dedicated pursuant to KRS 82.400 subsection 3, whereas accepting the property by dedication by ordinance, it is deemed to be property of the city for all intents and purposes. A proper title and a map or plat shall be filed in the Grayson County Clerk's Office evidencing the property declared, whereas there's certain property located at Penner Drive in Leitchfield, Kentucky, which has been open to unrestricted use to the general public for a period exceeding 5 years and should be dedicated to the city by ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky as follows, that the following parcel of land lying in Leitchfield, Grayson County, Kentucky, and more particularly described as follows, is declared to be a public way to the city, which there is a description of said property which would, that appears in the ordinance. And containing .26 acres or 11,345 square feet, more or less, according to a survey prepared under the direct supervision of Kevin David Crow. A copy of a map showing said boundaries described above is attached and marked as attachment A, duly enacted on the 16th day of January after first being read on the 2nd day of January 2024. Said ordinance to be effective upon publication. So we would just need to take a vote.
You need a motion and a second, and then make a
Motion,
vote.
second, and a roll
Somebody-
call.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Gina makes a motion.
that we accept that.
2D seconds. It'll be an individual vote. Denny?
Aye.
Aye.
Gina?
Aye.
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 Passes, no opposition. Next, we got the second final reading of an ordinance to repeal the ordinance related to the adoption of a program for community improvements.
It'll be on the next time. Okay, this is our second reading of the repealing of the Joint Planning Commission. Be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance minute book number 9, are you not? Yeah.
I
No.
think you're,
Did I jump?
I think we skipped the community
Yeah.
Did I
development.
jump? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're
I'm
on the
sorry.
community
I did.
improvements.
I'm sorry, keeping me on track, Lori. An ordinance repealing an ordinance of the City of Litchfield regarding adoption of a program for community development. Be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance minute book number 6, page 243 of the Litchfield Ordinance Book number 1, passed on March 20th, 1961, is hereby repealed in its entirety, duly enacted on the 16th day of January 2024, after first being read on the 2nd day of January 2024, said repealing of the ordinance to be effective upon publication. We'll need a motion, second, and an individual vote.
Have a motion, please. Clayton makes a motion. 2D seconds. Individual?
Aye.
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 Aye. Terry?
Aye.
Motion passes.
This is the ordinance repealing an ordinance of the City of Litchfield regarding a joint planning commission. Be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance minute book number 9, page 209 of the Litchfield Ordinance Book number 1, passed on October 13th, 1970, is hereby repealed in its entirety, duly enacted on the 16th day of January 2024, after first being read on the 2nd day of January 2024, said repealing of the ordinance to be effective upon publication. Motion, a second individual vote.
Make a motion. Clayton? 2D, individual?
Aye.
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 Motion passed. Second final reading of an ordinance amending an ordinance relating to the fire run fees for repetitive services.
Whereas the City of Litchfield, Kentucky has previously adopted an ordinance setting forth fees for repetitive fire run services, and whereas in order to update the fee schedule reflecting the current fees being assessed, the current ordinance shall be amended. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance 89-1 of the Litchfield City Ordinances passed on January 16th, 1989, be amended as follows, with added portions being underlined and deleted portions being indicated by a line drawn through them and encompassed by brackets enclosing them. That in the event that the city fire department responds to more than 2 calls within any calendar year for the purpose of extinguishing a fire at the same property address, the owner or owners of the real property and the occupant thereof shall jointly and severally be responsible to pay to the city a fee in the sum of $500, slashing out the $250, as reimbursement for the cost of each such additional response by the fire department, as well as such additional cost as may reasonably be shown to have occurred by the city in responding to such call. Duly enacted the 16th day of January 2024, after first being read on the 2nd day of January 2024. We'll need a motion.
Need a
second.
motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Terry makes a motion. Clayton seconds. Denny?
Aye.
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 I think that's an ordinance we was cleaning up because we've been charging it for,
It is.
yeah, a long time. Approval of the November 2023 financial statement. I know this must really need to be done because it was really specified in my email. It's kind of bold. Anybody got any questions?
Nope.
Can I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
Clayton makes a motion.
Second.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Stacy Whitley's term for the Code Enforcement Board expires 2/19/24, and obviously she wants to be reappointed.
Yes.
The new term would be 2020-24 to 2024 to 2/19/27, 3-year term. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, Danny, I can do that.
Okay.
We need executive session for KRS 61.8101C pending litigation update and KRS 61.8101B possible land purchase.
Need a motion, I say.
Need a motion.
I make a motion.
Clayton makes a motion.
Second.
Second by Tootie.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, come back into session, guys.
I make a motion.
Faith makes a motion. You second, all in favor?
Aye.
Earlene, you enlighten us on the,
Motion, sorry.
I'm sorry,
Who made the motion?
Clayton,
Clayton, I guess.
Gina.
Okay, sorry, I was in conversation.
Earlene, you want to update our executive session?
Was there a vote taken?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We discussed some possible land purchases to expand some operations in the city. There was no definite decisions reached. I don't think it needs any kind of calling for a vote to be taken about the purchase at this time. In regards to the pending litigation, there was just some updating on some pending lawsuits and where they stand at this time.
Thank you. Unfinished business, community alert app update. Is it you, Lori?
It is, just one finish my notes here. The utility commission has decided to not go in with us on this. They had a couple people look at it, and they felt like what it offered would duplicate some of the processes they already have in place. But Chairman Crawford did say that if we did purchase it and come to find out that they are using it, that they would revisit it and pay for their share of it. So,
What
I
was-
still feel like there might be some stuff that they can use, because we're still getting reports submitted on Excel spreadsheets, that I feel like if they use this, that they could actually print out a more detailed report. But that's just me thinking out loud, so.
And what was the cost? $9,000?
Yeah, 94 or something like that.
Nine.
I do feel like we might could approach the tourism commission.
I understand.
I feel like this would be an avenue that they could pursue too. Not that they would have a big portion of it to pay, but this might be an avenue that they can push, like their East Main Market, Finland Festival.
I think they're already talking about it. So I guess us presenting it to them will be the,
Do what?
whoever wants to present it to them. I know several of them are talking about it, tourism.
I can
They're talking about joining in. So if we want to get Elsa or something to come in,
And I can share the video with her so that she can, or the demonstration, so that she can share it with them and kind of get a feel for what they think. They could use it for, and if they can, what kind of percentage they can make go in on.
Lord, when you do that, will you let us know? Because I wasn't able to attend the one that you did, and if possible, I'd like to sit in with
I can
Elsa.
share the videos. I thought I
Okay,
sent those. to
you may
everybody.
have, and I just couldn't open it or something.
Okay, I'll.
Please, thank you.
I'll resend those to you.
Thank you.
I think that regardless of whether tourism wants to go in with us or not, I mean, we're talking about $9,400. This is the city government. If we had to amend the budget for $9,400, I don't feel like that's going to break the bank on the city. You know, the whole point of this, and what we've been calling it, has been a community alert, to alert the community of different aspects that are going on. And this could be used with every department, whether it be with Wes's department on a garbage pickup schedule change, which I know that, that's been a hot topic here lately. That would have been a really quick way to send out an update. Whether it was with, the police department could use it. If we had a missing person with a last known location, whatever David seen, whatever he wanted to share to get the community involved in it. It could be used within the fire department. It could be used with street closures. Tourism is a part of, even though they're their own branch, what tourism does with the East Main Market, they're still bringing people into our community. I think that this is something that we need to pursue. If nobody else wants to get on board, then for $9,400, we need to pursue it. And all the other things, as far as like work orders going through and different departments being able to use it, that's a bonus. And maybe if we can do this for 1 year, and I watched the utilities meeting, and they were talking about it would be like a duplication of what they're already doing. Well, when I think of like what we're doing, what we could do with this app, it wouldn't be a duplication, it would be replacing, because we shouldn't be in the business of doing things twice. And if we're doing, if we've been doing the same thing as far as work orders go for the last 15, 20 years, change is hard. Nobody likes change, but it's inevitable, and we need to at least try it. And then maybe if we tried it and it worked out well for Wes's department, whoever's going to use it, then maybe next year, utilities could say, this really did help them. It cut down. So let's team up. And maybe we use this for a year and we decide it doesn't work. But I think that another thing that, especially the mayor, I think mentioned it, was about the younger generation being more app savvy and technologically inclined. Well, I'm 53. I'm not part of that younger generation that I know that lots of people think of when they hear younger generation. You think 20s and 30s, but I use an app for every single thing that I can, whether it's electric or internet or whatever. That's what I'm using. Our school systems are set up to where they send out electronic communications first, and then they'll post it to social media and send out to the radio stations or whatever. This is the quickest way. And we need to jump on board. We need to progress. We need to catch up with some modern times. That's my opinion.
Anybody else? Code enforcement amendment ordinance for the condemned properties. Is that you, Tyler, or is that Arlene?
We don't have an update at this time.
Nothing? Don't have nothing, Ray? Ray Montgomery's term for the county tourism board update.
Yes, so I had this on the agenda last meeting for you all, but there has been a little bit of confusion. I did speak with Tiffany, and on our books, Ray Montgomery's end date is January 31st of 2024. But Tiffany was telling me when she took over, there was some confusion, and it looked like on their books, everybody had the same termination date for their appointment. So she said, I got a little frantic because, everybody can't just go away at the same time. So she got with Judge Henderson, and what they did was they went ahead and reappointed everybody, and from my understanding, they staggered the dates. So they have already...
They reappointed
They reappointed ours, yes. So on their books, her new term date is 2/1/2026. It went from 2/1/23 to 2/1/26. So in my opinion, it's already done, and she still wants to sit on that board, so I feel like we just need to update ours and put it in the minutes that is her new term date. And I think I'd sent Arlene and everybody an email about it, and Arlene agreed with that. So it's just whatever you all want to do. If you all want to do it, do we need to go ahead and make a motion to accept that?
I think we need
I think so,
to accept
too.
it that way to be in the record.
Yes, I think so also. Any of those discussion? Anybody want to make a motion to reelect?
I make a motion.
Clayton makes a written motion to reelect Ray for the county tourism board
And to accept the new term.
and to accept the
date.
new term that's different than ours.
Yeah,
You second, Gina?
I will.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. David Langley resigned from his position of Board of Adjustments from 12/19. We've sent out a flyer and a position that you can fill out if you're inquiring about this position that he had. We had 60 days to get it done. I think we're on, 30, the 19th, so we got at least 30 plus more.
We do. And Tyler,
So
have we
they
got very
turned-
many resumes on that?
I have 5 qualified resumes as of right now. I'd like to
How they turn that in, Tyler?
They submit it by email to Jennifer,
Gotcha.
and I want to cut that off by end of business this Friday, and then take
What
what
is
we
it?
have.
And just a
And then-
reminder, we did pass the ordinance, there will have to be, if it's a new appointment, there'll have to be that, interview process through the council.
Through the council.
So this position for the Board of Adjustments would have to be an interview involved with city council executive session? Understand.
Since it's a new,
Since it's a new
It's a
position,
new person coming in, yeah. A new appointment,
or a new appointee.
yeah.
So, and the cutoff date is 1/19,
Yeah, end of business 1/19.
2024.
Yes.
4 o'clock. If you're interested, apply. Old business, Terry?
I do have two things that I had a note on that I needed to ask. It kind of goes back to, we've kind of talked about it before. Lori, did I hear a few meetings ago at the Utilities Commission, whenever you all first brought up the Community Alert app, was there mention of like a one-call type service? Is there a one-call type
There
service?
is, we have a one call that they use for their boil water advisories, and it's just a system that we buy credits for, and they buy, say, 20,000 credits, and if their message is so long, it eats up so many of those credits and however many people that they send it to. So it's fairly inexpensive. I think, Sabrina, maybe the last one was $200 or $300 on buying credits. It's really inexpensive.
Can I ask you to bring something up at the Utilities Commission next meeting, or I can come if necessary? Will you ask them if they can please put like a card, not just on the bill, but a card in the next couple of billings that go out asking for updated numbers, if people have updated numbers? Because I know that whenever I first got my water service back in, 1992, my number has changed since then. And I'm not sure that I've ever come into City Hall and said, my number has changed, can you change it on my account? But it does need to be on some type of card that they can return back with the water bill and turn back into City Hall. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I can, and they can even text it to the number if they give us their address and stuff, so I will see what they will do about that.
Yes. And then the next thing was the texting of the number. I know that we have texting service, and we've talked about this for a bit, and I think that I saw it on our bill list that we just approved, and it was $59, correct? Mm-hmm. So we're paying $59 per month for a texting service. And what exactly is that texting service? How can the community use that? I mean, I know that orders go between departments, correct? Mm-hmm. So is this number a texting service that the community can actually
It is.
use?
It's not changed since we put the first flyers out there, with the exception of we did away with the Public Works number. They can text that number if they need limbs picked up, and we'll make sure it gets over to Public Works. If there's potholes, just anything, miscellaneous like that they need to alert us about.
And can you refresh my memory on that number
I
again?
sure can. It's 259-4034.
4034.
That is, yeah, it is our main number in here. And the only reason we did away with the one that went to Public Works is it wasn't getting utilized.
Right.
And it was just a bill that we were paying for and nobody was using it. And to be quite honest, the only text I get through that now is from Comcast. There's not any citizens, so it's just being used mainly for the utility work order system right now.
Gotcha. All right, thank
I
you.
think rumor also is the county's looking at code red or one call or something again too.
Yeah, the Code Red was really, really expensive before. I
Yeah,
think
the-
we were paying,
I know.
I'd have to pull it up, but it was like
Rumor is they're in
$5,000.
process of working with them or working through them, so that would be another advantage for all of us.
Yes, that's all I have.
Tootie?
No, sir.
I don't have any.
No.
Like Gina?
I do have one thing, and I think Terry brought it up before, the turn lights. We heard anything about any of that?
No, the last I talked to them, when I emailed him back and forth, that they were gonna have to do a study on it, and I don't
No,
know
when
if
that'll
they
be, okay.
if they've set up and done anything yet, but they did, I did give them locations, and they said once they got done, they would let us know, because they would turn it into Frankfurt would make a decision and go from there.
None.
Denny? Lori? Sabrina? Arlene?
We brought up about the personnel policy before, and I think we had kind of said we'd do the pay scales, then the next project would be personnel. So we probably need to start getting a plan together of how we're gonna execute that, how we're gonna do it. So just kind of food for thought, something to think about. I believe it's this side of the table.
You wanna believe, yeah, you wanna meet with this committee?
But, yes, but I do encourage everyone to be a part of that project, and the department heads as well. I had sent an email out, and I think gave hard copies of just a basic proposed personnel policy that KLC puts out. That could be a starting point for us. So if anybody needs another copy of that, just ask. I'll make sure to get it to you, and then just start looking through. And, you know, that way we'll start having ideas when we meet.
Clayton, you and Gina and Danny, won't y'all meet with Arlene, see when you wanna start the meeting, or?
Well,
Jennifer with HR need to be, with HR.
HR,
probably needs to be-
Jennifer, they are, and the heads of departments.
what me and Sabrina talked this afternoon, and the next committee meeting was gonna be budget and finance, and she is actually out for vacation. So what we had talked about was moving
That's
the
this side.
personnel committee up and flip-flopping those two. So,
Because in March, when that personnel committee was supposed to be meeting, I'm gonna need to be meeting.
Yeah, she's gonna be doing budget meetings.
So it would actually work better if the budget committee would meet in March rather than
the first one in February,
swap them.
yeah,
5 weeks in a row.
so.
Timing anyway.
That would be us.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up when we got to other, since it was under there, but since, Erling was talking about that, I just wanted to, if you all are good with that, the next council meeting, which is February, we'll do personnel instead of budget.
I would like to have a copy of it. I knew you sent it out, but it was like email and.
Yeah.
You want a hard copy?
Yes, please.
Unlike Terry, I'm not savvy enough to.
No,
Anything else, Arlene?
no.
Wesley? David?
No, sir.
Hey, David, give me an update on the flock cameras, or whatever they're called. I saw a big Facebook post after our last meeting, and I don't even remember talking about it at our meeting. The meeting or two before that, maybe, but I don't know why it just hit the internet, social media so hard after our last meeting.
Well, I think there's some misconception in what they actually are.
Ain't that what they're called, flock?
And flock cameras. Actually, just to give a small description of them, they are license plate readers. And what they will do, they will read license plates as people enter or exit the city. If those license plates are not hit on, if there's nothing in the system to cause those to be hit, they are immediately kicked out of the system. They're not retained, there is no record of them or anything, unless there is a hit on them from another jurisdiction, from our own jurisdiction. Then they will be the information will be transmitted to the officers on duty, and that's how they utilize.
So what you're saying is the license plate is already recorded somewhere for like a warrant or something like that. It's
Yeah.
not gonna read mine and your license plate and
Absolutely
go to a
not.
database and just run through it.
Absolutely not.
Right.
It does not work that way.
Gotcha.
No. We utilized it, it was utilized a couple of weeks ago in a lady that we didn't know was missing, apprehended, whatever the case may be. She was located in central Alabama by a flock camera. So, there's lots of uses for them. And once they are put into effect, I think the public will really like what they're doing, because they are a safety factor for the community.
So how many of them are we going for?
We're looking at, what was it we talked about, Lori?
8 or 9?
That was six.
I
I thought it was
believe it was
five.
6.
I was thinking 5.
I was thinking 5 too,
It was 5 or 6.
I was
Is
thinking
the
5.
number that we're looking at to start with. So, you know, they're doing a full thing of where they need to be, you know, a diagram and everything of where they recommend that they would put them. Flock comes in and totally installs them unless we want to install them and Public Works wants to do it, you know.
And did
That's
we get a
part of-
grant for that?
We did not. We looked, Scotty actually looked, I looked, there was no, we could not find a grant. And we looked hard, Scotty looked hard, and we could not find a grant for them at the time.
You remember the cost, what they were?
Around, the cost will be around $35,000
Installed and all?
installed. And that actually counts the software and everything to get it started.
Did we budget that? Gotcha,
We had it in the budget.
gotcha. So, David, anything else?
No, sir.
Tyler?
No, sir.
Let's move to new business ordinance 39.21.21, revisit the possible change for 6 months to 12 months following graduation from the academy. I'm assuming that's police.
Yes, sir.
That was an ordinance we're asking to amend to reflect a 12-month probationary period to 6 months. I think Chief is in favor of it, but one thing too is 12 months after
I thought we done
certification.
voted on it.
You
last
did
meeting.
not, and I
We
went
just
back
talked
and
about
looked
it.
in the minutes.
So you want a motion to adopt?
If you want to make a motion, it is an ordinance change, so there's going to be a first and second reading. I don't have something printed, but I can do a first reading because I have drafted it and it's on my computer. But we need a vote in the minutes to move forward on it.
Just adopt the change?
Yes.
Motion?
I make a motion.
Wait, just a second. I got a question. So
We
following
need a question.
graduation or following completion certification? Is
Says
there a
graduation from the academy.
difference? I know, but if they're already certified and they're hired,
It's 12 months.
it's 12 months.
It's
They're
12 months, yeah.
not- From certification, not necessarily from completion of the academy. There's a difference,
You don't
right?
get certified unless you get
I
completion.
know, but they could come to you already certified.
And then it's just 12 months.
Yes,
It's
just 12 months.
But
Yeah.
not necessarily.
It would be a 12 months probation, like if somebody comes certified from another agency.
Any
it would
new
be
hire.
12.
Right, that's really what it needs to say, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And
But I think what an issue was kind of coming up was that if the chief hired somebody, they had to go to the academy for, what, 20 weeks or however
It's
long
20
it is.
weeks.
Then once they got out of the academy, they're already up to the time that their probationary period is pretty close to ending.
Right.
So that's why the certification.
Yes,
12
to go to
months.
12 months.
So if they come from another agency, they're already certified.
Right,
Correct.
they are, correct.
But
Do you
you're
wanna
still
continue-
wanting a 12-month probation period? even
Yes.
if they're-
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
so, or 1 year.
So you want a 12-month probationary period even if they transfer from another
I think so.
county?
I think
So we just
I
need to
think
change
so.
it to a 12-month probationary period from time of
New
hire.
New hire.
Yes.
I mean, we don't even need to talk about graduation from the academy, right?
Yeah, no, we still do.
No, we
Well,
still
we-
do.
Still do?
It would be a longer probation period because you'd have their graduation period, then their 1 year starts.
because they're
If
Because
it's
they're
a
not
new
certified
hire,
until
it's
they-
just 1 year.
To the graduate.
So do you,
Right.
what is it currently, what's the ordinance state currently from,
Six.
for
6
a,
months?
for just a new hire?
6 months, yes. And it
And we
doesn't
wanna
say
change
anything
that
about the
to 12.
academy, correct?
Yes.
And we want to change that to 12-month too,
12
also.
months. If you are
So
a
you need a
new-
and/or.
If
She's
you're a
got
new
it.
officer attending the academy, then you are on probation 1 year after you graduate and are certified.
Okay,
If you are coming from another agency already certified, it would be 1 year from your hire date.
yeah, perfect.
Isn't that what we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you were asking,
That's
Gina?
what I was, yes.
That's what she's typing, I think, right now.
Yeah, she's putting that clause in there.
Thank you, Terry. Okay. Something else I wanted to bring up, in the old ordinance book versus the online, which the books are always gonna control. It didn't show that this had been amended since 1975. So, looking in the book, we're looking at, there's another clause in this ordinance which states that he will be dismissed from the service by the chief of police with the approval of the council and shall not be entitled to appeal from such dismissal. Well, that's just not correct based on KRS. They are entitled to an appeal. Based on our handbook, they're entitled to an appeal. And it's not based on the approval of council, it's based on approval of the mayor. Online reflects, it says the mayor, but even online, it states about they don't have a right to appeal. So there's a couple of things wrong with the book version, and then online doesn't reflect what the books say. I've cleaned all that up with what I've typed, and what I would recommend that's passed. Also, there's gonna come a point where we're gonna have to make the wording more gender neutral. All it states is he's. While you're doing it, I would suggest making it a he or she or they. You don't have to do that, I'm just saying that's what's coming in the future, because we do have female officers, so just.
Do we have an ordinance that the mayor is executive authority and supersedes all these? A hire or fire or?
The mayor is the chief officer, so he is in charge of all internal affairs.
Everything.
So,
So did I get a motion and a second for this, or do you need it?
There was a motion.
there was a motion, I don't think there was a vote taken, but just need a vote clarification on what we're changing.
Clayton made a motion
What motion?
Let's start again.
to revisit, to change it from 6 months to 12 months.
I'll make
For-
a
for
motion
a-
that we amend the ordinance
Amend more.
to reflect certification, or 12 months probationary period after certification. So certification either means complete your term at the Eastern, or you're already certified.
Okay. All right. Also with the changes to reflect that the book, what we have on the books reflects the actual chain of command when it comes to approval, mayor, not the council, correct?
Additionally,
Danny makes a motion, I second it.
Denny makes a motion, Clayton seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Do you want to do a first reading with what I have drafted, or? do
Yes,
you all want-
ma'am.
Can, I would, now, Denny, I'm gonna ask for a hard copy on this, because we've had so much conversation about this and so many words that I would feel more comfortable actually seeing a hard copy with everything lined out
Okay.
before I vote on this.
Yeah.
You can have a hard copy though the first reading.
First reading, we can't do nothing anyway.
Irrelevant.
Okay.
Second reading,
We'll
we
have
can
a hard
turn.
copy.
I was
to-
gonna suggest, once if you all did the reading, that she send that to me tonight, and I can forward it on to everybody.
Well, we just need a motion, don't we? We don't need a vote for the first
Yeah,
reading.
Okay.
It'll just be read, we won't vote on it this time, and I didn't anticipate there would be that many changes from online versus the book version, so,
I'll make a motion to do the first reading.
okay.
Clayton seconds it.
Summary of an ordinance amending an ordinance relating to probational period for police officers of the city, whereas City of Litchfield, Kentucky has previously adopted an ordinance setting forth a probational period for incoming hires for the Litchfield Police Department, and whereas in order to allow more time in which to have oversight of new hires within the Litchfield Police Department, by allowing a longer probational time period for training and insight into job performance, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance minute number 10, page 125-A of the Litchfield City Ordinances passed on September 15th, 1975, be amended as follows, with added portions being underlined and deleted portions being indicated by a line drawn through them, and encompassed by brackets enclosing them. All original appointments shall be for a probational period of marking out 6 months, 1 year, from the date of graduation from the Department of Criminal Justice Training, DOCJT, or if already certified 1 year from their transfer from another agency. Continuation in service shall be dependent upon the conduct of the appointee and marking out his and replacing with the officer's fitness for the performance of the duties to which the officer is assigned is indicated by the quality of the officer's work and the reports and recommendations of the officer's superior officers. If during the said marking out 6 months, 1 year time period, the appointee proves unfit, the officer will be dismissed from the service by the chief of police with the approval of the mayor. And marking out, and shall not be entitled to appeal from such dismissal, because that's just not correct according to our handbook and KRS.
Sounded good.
Is that
Agreed.
okay? Okay.
All right, next we'll go to amend the ordinance for 3901 and revisit policy changes from shall consist of the assistant chief police to at the discretion of the mayor after a consult with the chief of police on whether or not they want a assistant chief of police. Right?
Mouthful.
And I didn't do any drafting on this one, because there wasn't a vote.
David, you
taken.
got any comment?
And, well, the reason for that is there's lots of departments that are going to co-captains now instead of an assistant chief. You've got an admin part and you've got a patrol captain, you know. And it just kind of splits the duties up a little bit. But I think that would just be a good option for us to have. I'm not saying that I would never say we need an assistant chief, but I think this is a good option to be able to have that, where we could just have like co-captains, or we could even have just a captain as your next in command.
So, Arlene, what is it now? Do we even have one?
Well, right now, we don't have an assistant
Okay.
chief since, well, Brandon officially is still assistant chief till February the 1st.
But the current ordinance mandates a chief and an assistant chief.
Gotcha.
There's no discretion.
Could we just change the word shall to may? Because shall is saying we have to.
True.
May is
Yeah.
saying we could or could not.
True.
That's true.
David, you and the mayor want to discuss it and get back to us next meeting?
That'd be fine. Yeah, that'd be fine.
I'm good. Council good with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that'd be fine.
Discussion of planning and zoning commission pay, possibly change commissioners from 2 to 3 and the chairman from 4 to 5. I think we already approved this in the budget in July. It takes effect in July 1.
It's already been voted on.
Yeah, so
Well-
Yeah.
technically, if it was in the budget, well, they've already voted. It'll
Right.
just
I
be
mean,
the
I think
first
we
reading.
voted
But
on
that's
it.
what, I think that's what Denny wanted, it was go ahead and get the ordinance drafted, am I correct, Denny?
We have to change the ordinance. The ordinance
Okay.
mandates how much.
Okay. I can have that ready next meeting.
You'll take care of that next meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we'll lay it over till next meeting.
Well,
Let
since we're
Arlene
changing
do
the
her
ordinance, though, can we just go ahead?
due diligence.
Do what
Can we
Denny-
just vote on it now and have the first reading of the ordinance next week, and that way get it over with?
Well,
And it
we've
still
already
doesn't-
voted on it if it's part of the
Well-
budget.
It still doesn't go into effect until July 1, correct?
Right,
Is it the upcoming budget or the current
the
budget?
upcoming.
yeah,
Upcoming, oh yeah, then you need to vote.
upcoming, July 1, 24.
Yeah,
Before
then
it
you
goes
need
into
to
effect.
vote then.
Then we need to vote when?
You do need to vote if it's the upcoming budget, not the current.
Sabrina, you're sitting there. You're our budget person. This is something that's going to take effect on July 1. That will be the new fiscal year, correct?
So that has not been approved yet.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
It couldn't be approved since we haven't
We
done the
haven't done
budget.
it.
Yeah.
No, we met in executive session. Arlene gave the summary after we left the executive session where this was discussed, and she talked about this, so I'm not giving any.
Arlene wasn't here, I
Detail.
don't think.
Arlene came out, and she went over, this has been a few months ago, we talked about increasing the pay from $200 to $300 per commissioner and $400 to $500 per, for the chairman, and this would go into effect on July 1. We all agreed on that.
I don't think Arlene was present. She was sick that day. So it
Well, then
wouldn't come out and
whoever
discussed it.
represented Arlene came out and talked about it. We can go back and look at the minutes.
I was gonna say, I thought there was one, I know we said there was no final decision made at that time.
I think that was, there was no discussion other than saying no final decision was made.
Let's wait until the mayor comes back before we do, before we do anything else.
I don't,
Let's have a discussion on the 5th. I'll make a motion, we lay it over to the 5th.
And Terry, I'll go back and look at
You need
the
to.
minutes and the,
I made a
and pull
motion.
the
Cody
video on
second.
it too.
Second?
Approval? Yay?
Yes.
Yay.
nay,
Denny's nay. New business, Denny.
looking at the tourism ordinance, and talking with Lori, educating me about how the county's done. Under our ordinance, it just says the mayor shall appoint the members of the tourism board. It does not say anything about us giving approval to it. So next meeting, mayor's not here, so next meeting, I think we need to discuss amending the ordinance to reflect that the city council has to approve the mayor's recommendation on the members of the tourism board. The way it reads now, the mayor could just appoint him. I think Lori said in the past, it's always been done where the mayor recommends and the city council approves. But the ordinance does not require that, so.
Don't require us to
Does
do
not
it.
require the city council.
So
to
the
be
mayor
involved.
only, it says right now the mayor only makes that decision. I think that's his job anyway, but I don't think he has to if he don't want to, but
We want to approve it.
I
mean,
think-
He makes a recommendation, it's
he,
like.
he
planning
does,
and
but I don't
zoning
know
and the
that he
other
has to.
On all the other boards, I think all the other
Yeah.
ordinances read that, he makes
We've had
recommendations.
mayors do it,
you
and
all
mayors
agree.
not, so
so.
it worked for both.
It's however you all want it to read. I think Denny was just trying to make it uniform across the board.
I understand.
That's all.
Gina?
I do have one new thing. I just wanted us to remember Don Kirk's family, friends. Don, I think, over 30 years as a dispatcher,
Yes,
and so I think that's worthy of mentioning.
yes, we work together.
Thank you for that, and our hearts do go out to the family for comfort and peace. Clayton?
No.
I don't have any.
No.
Terry?
No, I'm good.
Very good. Reminder, there'll be a budget and the finance committee meeting on February the 5th at 5 o'clock. That will be,
No, remember we talked about changing it to personnel,
Change
since
it to
Sabrina's
March.
gonna be out.
oh, that's right, you're gonna change it to personnel instead of,
And Lori's going to remind us.
Yep.
And Earling's going to get us a copy of the proposed personnel policies.
There should be in your emails, but I can print hard copy.
But we
Hard
need-
copy.
We need hard
Yeah, I can do that.
Like flip
for the
pages.
agent.
Yeah.
next chamber luncheon, February the 8th. Please let them know by the 5th. I think it's sponsored by Funeral Homes,
I think so.
That's Lori.
so that could be cool. Can't wait to see them trinkets. No other business, or ask for motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second. Motion adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.